What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bringing incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a cross-cultural intelligence coach, project manager, mentor, trainer, and facilitator. Please welcome Lulu. Lulu, welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for bringing me on the show. I'm delighted to talking to you today.
And I think what we're going to be talking about is actually very necessary to help educate and inform and empower people with information that you perhaps can help them with.
Yes, I believe so. I think in today's world, particularly in this globalized culture and context, and then English being a business language or common language, if you like, people can end up having this perception or sometimes illusion that we all speak the same language. But if you just lift up the hood, if you like, when people start working together from different corners of the world, you'll soon realize actually, on a minute, we don't speak the same language that we think.
Yeah. And speaking of being in different parts of the world, can you share the audience with where you're joining us from?
Yes, I am calling in from a town called Horsham in West Sussex County in the southeast of England. Yeah.
Awesome. So, as much as we are separated, we are still coming together, and we're going to talk about something that is, I think that is going to help the world become a better place. I've talked to a lot of coaches, but I've never had a conversation or got, kind of in depth with someone that does cross-cultural intelligence. And so now I'm very open. I get along with everybody. I think you probably can tell that about me. I'm welcoming, inclusive, all those things. But my fiance is an immigrant. He's not from the United States, and he came here when he was 7 or 8. And so my in-laws, my future in-laws are, obviously immigrants as well. And I can tell there are some things, even though he's been here for most of his life, there's certain things like the culture. There are sometimes we have a difference in our culture. It's as simple and as basic as it is. And we're not talking about in the workforce. So I think in the workforce, it is even more probably highlighted when there are different cultures and how to come together as a team.
Absolutely. So you are quite right there. So even like you say, to start with, how people get to know each other in a cross-cultural team. So just to clarify this, two scenarios people can end up in. One is you are in one country, in your home country, end up managing or working with a team with people coming from different countries. So another scenario is that actually you are given a task to go to another country to lead a team in the different location. So in either this situation, when we get to know each other, how people get to know each other and build trust can be quite different.
Yeah, I would think that that's different. And when people are in different cultures and different parts of the world, do you think that there is an underlying judgment that comes along with those people when they're dealing with each other?
I would say so. The interesting scenario is, as a cross-cultural coach, the number one rule, if you like, is what I observe, and I tell people not to do, is people always think and feel their own culture is the best culture and is the only right culture.
Yeah.
So, and wherever they are meeting with people from different culture in your own country, or when they travel around, there's this automatic comparison between your own culture and others.
Yeah.
I said to people, it's fine to compare, but don't go along the line of trying to get out of a champion that which one is better. So you can compare the differences, but don't compare which one is better. Because if you go down that road, you'll end up in the wrong place. So that's where the discrimination, bias, all this come up. If you try to think, oh, which one's better, which one's worse. So just say actually embrace the differences. Just say actually, yeah, observe and see what the difference is.
I think the differences are an opportunity for us to learn from each other. That's my thought process. But I think maybe in some cultures or different backgrounds that might be um, uh, what's the word I'm looking for? A way to like kind of be more combative or I'm losing my train of thought. I can't think of the word, but I think you understand what I'm saying, where they would be against each other and not looking at it as an opportunity to learn from one another.
Sure, sure. I think, like I mentioned, one of the ways when people first meet together, when they want to build trust at work colleagues and all that. So when you look at the cultural differences, broadly speaking, there are different ways to like slice the world. So one is the so-called hot climate culture, and the other is cold climate culture. So meaning the hot climate culture is more geared up on relationship,
Okay.
and the cold climate culture are more geared up about logic and facts.
Hmm.
So the your typical Anglo-Saxon culture and the Northern European culture are a cold climate culture. They like to have the their thinking and everything else based more on logic. Well, the you see China or where I come from, and Southern European, African countries, Latin American, they are more relationship based.
Yeah.
So when you get to know each other, first thing is, I remember when I was dispatched in my early years to go to Cambodia, I was given the job to managing all the programs there. When I went there, there are two groups of people. One is the expats-led organizations, so there are American and some Dutch, and the other group are local organizations in Cambodia and led organizations. So I have to take two different approach to build trust with them.
Hmm.
So with the expat European people, so I we start in office. So they basically gave me a mini interview. So I was also in my youth. So then they basically give me a mini interview. So for them, they need to know logically what qualifies me to do the job.
Yeah.
They have to be satisfied logically. While with the Cambodians, I invited them into the hotel, staying, um, just have a drink, have a meal with them, just talk about family and your journey in life and how you get to where you are in the organization, and not launch into the work itself immediately. Then when you with those group of people, when you build a relationship, personal relationship, when they feel they can trust you,
Yeah.
and they can talk about work. Well,
Sure.
the other way around. So in with Anglo-Saxon culture, so you can launch straight into the work, and as long as they making logical sense, it's just fine.
Yeah. Were you always interested in becoming this kind of coach, or did something happen that led you down this path?
Uh, so it is an interesting concept because when I talking about label free, so I was thinking about the other day when I got this title, I thought, what is label free? I thought for me, I understand that live a label free life is actually twofold for me. One is not to be defined by the labels other people put on you.
Mm.
So that's first fold. The other fold is actually how you can keep reinventing yourself and give yourself new labels. So that's kind of what I'm going for. So as I was reflecting on this title of the show, so for me, how it leaded me to this work
Yeah.
is it's my journey really. When I graduated from high school, uh, you will never believe that my first label is I'm the kid who never passed the English exam in the school.
Oh, wow.
So ever. Then my dad made a bold decision, almost counterintuitive. After I finished my high school, sent me to a translator school, and somehow something clicked. the way they taught the translators is different from the way they teach English in your ordinary school.
Yeah.
So I just went from there. So I watched loads of movies, American movies, and I went from there. And then I finished the top of class. So one of my teachers, who's also a professor in the university, introduced me to a job in the university of my city, United University. And so they have a language center where they teach Chinese to all the foreign students
Okay.
from about 100 countries. So that's my first introduction to cross-cultural.
Well,
So I thought, what an eye-opening experience. I worked there for 3 years. From the receptionist become the foreign affairs secretary, and that's also where I met my wife.
oh,
So she came from England
I love
to
it.
study and work there. So that's how I got one step further or deeper into this cross-cultural issue. So now I'm living it. So every day, married different, person from different country. And then we moved to Thailand, lived for a year. So it's another country experience, worked there, and then came to the UK. So again, end up working in the organization. It's International Relief and Development Organization.
Mhm.
So working in 50 countries.
Oh, wow.
So I, as an immigrant, it's another journey to learn how to live cross-culturally. I moved to England. When you move to a new country, I didn't know that at the time. Whatever you did or didn't do back in China, almost like somebody pressed a reset button. So you start from scratch.
Yeah.
So you can't just rely on your previous glory. And then all of a sudden, I found myself starting in the post room or the mail room in this organization. So, and I just kept going and kept working, kept studying along the way. So 22 years later, I'm now the level 2 manager in this organization, leading a team of international projects and working all these 50 countries. Yeah, that's how
Well,
I got into this area. The more you get into that, like you say, with the right attitude,
yeah.
the more you find it fascinating. Yeah, it's more. Yeah, that's why I feel like, I'm just passionate about these things. I'm living it, and I really want to just pass it on to others as well.
I think that's really great. I would be open to those kinds of experiences, learning all the different cultures from, all these different countries. So if somebody wants to work with you, what point do you think it's important for them to bring you in or to work with you as a coach around cultural intelligence?
So I think the way I designed my coaching program is based on my years of experience.
Mhm.
So what typically can happen is you can read a whole lot of cultural book. You get training as a manager of all kind of training, but then these two can't marry together. So
Right.
you hold them separately. You still don't know how to apply it. So for me, I developed a program, coaching program specifically follow the program management process or cycle, if
Okay.
you like, that
Okay.
how I can teach people overlay the cultural aspect at each step of the way. Like I said, how you get to know each other, build trust, and then how people accept or view when you give a task. How do you divide the resources, allocate roles and responsibilities, managing conflict, dealing with time and the financial management. That's very fascinating subject when you come to work with a cross-cultural team. So I think to answer your question, it's about actually if you are a manager,
Yeah.
senior to high level manager, or middle to senior manager, or your manager to be, I think that's where you really can learn this cross-cultural intelligence.
Sure.
But the challenge is that people don't know what they don't know.
Right.
So they walk into a job and they are fully qualified, experienced manager, and all of a sudden they found they are struggling, but then they don't know what they're struggling with. So that can actually severely damage their own confidence if they're not careful.
Yeah, I can imagine. So your ideal client would be someone who's in management that is working amongst different cross-cultural teams.
That's right. That's right. So I think you will notice actually majority of the companies, organizations nowadays do operate internationally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think COVID kind of pushed that along quite a bit. So, if someone wants to work with you, what does that look like? Where, do you have a consulting call with you first, or what's the commitment that they have to do? Can you share with us what that process looks like?
Sure. A typical program, what I designed, it's a 10-week process.
Okay.
So meaning there's a knowledge part. So they can arrange a call with me. First of all, we need to know actually, can we work together? Is this
Yeah.
something I can help you with? And then should that be the case, then so it's a 10-week program. Then each week I'll give them a short video clip I recorded. So that gives you the knowledge side. And
Okay.
then to prompt you to think, actually, this piece of knowledge, this aspect, how does that apply to your work? So how does that um, affect your current work? So basically, it's a light bulb moment to help you to trigger some reflection and thinking. And then you come to me, we have a 1-hour coaching session, and then to really bespoke to resolve the issues you have relating to that specific area. There might be, time management, financial management, or conflict, or giving feedback, or gender and age. There are 10 modules designed for that. Then in between the module, if you you can have access to me. If you need to have a quick meeting, important meeting you don't know about, just contact me, then we can have a quick chat. So then, let's see how we work together.
Yeah. And where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Um, yes, I have a website. It's liuliucoaching.com. And then you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Excellent. You guys, I'm gonna put those links in the show notes. So if you've connected with what Lulu has shared today, Lulu, did I say that correctly?
Yes, that's right.
I felt like I would say it right. But if you connect with what he shared today and you are a manager working with a cross-cultural team or know someone that is and possibly might need a little help managing his team a little bit better, don't hesitate to go click that link below, connect with him with Lulu on LinkedIn, and it doesn't hurt to set up a consultation call. Lulu, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
Right. I think what I would like to leave with people today is obviously about cross-cultural, is I think we need to, first of all, need to really embrace our individuality, embrace our uniqueness. And secondly is, I would say, actually avoid stereotype anybody or any culture.
Yes.
So any of the cultural concept can give a general idea, but even within one country, like I mentioned to you, the Anglo-Saxon could be both climate culture, but actually within those group, there are also varieties of things.
Yeah.
And and be open-minded and don't judge others. Like I mentioned at the beginning, compare the differences, embrace the differences, but don't compare to see which one's better.
Right.
Yeah,
I like that. Very good. Well, thank you so much for what you do. I think it's very important in today's age. And thank you for sharing your story and being a guest on Label Free Podcast.
thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to get some feedback from you and from the listeners. I'm ready.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.